The military is a special institution. Servicemen and women put their lives on the line in the defense of their country. It is a noble cause for which some pay with their lives. For the many who survive, they spend the rest of their lives living with the consequence of their time in the military. Military life is not a picnic. From the Ecomoc battles to the current fight against Boko Haram, it is a tough life. Sometimes during the Armed Forces Day, we remember the fallen heroes. But what about the many who are still alive? They are referred to as military veterans. Today's program is about them. Many fought in many battles the country was involved in. After time in the military, how is life on civilian for these veterans? That will be our focus on Nigeria Today. I'm Wilfred Ewonderful.
My heart bleeds and my soul screams. I can't but ask why it should be me. Oh, but oh Lord, as I well in my heart I pray. Please open your heaven's gate and allow their soul to rest. Oh, Ajakubo, Kubo.
Welcome back. That was a short and very sober clip out of a prepared message on military veterans put together by the Heroes Foundation. We'll get to them shortly. But first of all, let's put this program into context. Let me introduce my guest. First is retired Air Commodore Abayomi Balogun. Air Commodore Balogun, welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
And next is Colonel Frank Ofodile, retired. Welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Gentlemen, if that was designed to be a sober message, it actually achieves substantial effect. But we'll get into the substance of what this is all about a bit later. Let's properly put this into context. Let's go back and get to understand the background of each one of you. Beginning with you, Colonel Ofodile. Give us a short brief of your time in service.
Well, like you really said, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Frank Ofodile, retired, a member of 35 Regular Course. Joined the Army, went to the Nigerian Defense Academy as a young man in the 80s. Graduated in 1983, who were supposed to be the first set of the NDA degree awarding program. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, as it were, so we did the normal 3 years. Graduated in December 1986, and my journey into the military career, actually as an officer, started way back in Warri in 1987 January. And from that 1987, as a young man, a young boy, a young officer, dashing and whatever, I was full of zeal. And of course, with the NDA training, the only thing uppermost in my mind was to serve Nigeria with all my strength and ensure that the integrity, both the territorial angle and whatever, was fulfilled. I was shipped out of this country for Ecomoc in 1991. And I was amongst the fortunate ones that one survived and came back in 1992. Again, by providence, I was not, for whatever reason, returned back to Liberia, as it were, because there were some other officers who, for one reason or the other, went back like 2, 3, 4 times and stuff like that. So also the soldiers. I came back 1992, had my stint within Nigerian angle, attended so many courses. As at 1993-94, I came to this Abuja. I was posted to Gas Brigade, whose primary duty, as it were, was to.
Okay, so I need to cut in now because of time, really. I mean,
Yeah.
so aside Liberia,
Yes, I was in Sierra Leone.
you're in Sierra Leone.
I was in Bakassi, and before I finally went for a UN mission.
Okay, so how long were you in the military, and when did you retire?
I retired December 31st, 2009. About 28 years,
Voluntarily.
voluntarily, yes.
Okay, let's get the story of Air Commodore Balogun. Just give us a brief of your time in service.
My service career started 82. Became a fighter pilot after the training in the US. And when I came back, not too long, we had to go to Liberia to go and fight in Liberia to bring peace into the country. I was there in 1990, 1991, and came back home. In 1995, we were once again called upon to go and help the Sierra Leoneans in 95, which we did. And we fought alongside the South African Executive Outcome. I came back in 1995, and 96 again I was back in Freetown, this time to help oust the rebel government, which has removed the president, Ahmed Tijan Kaba. And between 1996, 97, 98, we were able to do that. We removed the rebels and reinstated the government of Ahmed Tijan Kaba. I played active role in all these wars. And when I came back, what I noticed over there and what I saw on the ground, I saw that the members of the armed forces are not well treated after return from combat. Because when I came back, the only thing they did for us was HIV test, and we were free to go home. There were other things that were wrong with the troops, but all the examination did not go further than that. Okay. So that's how I got back into the service.
Okay, so altogether you spent how long in service?
In service, I spent 33 years.
Okay, so since you got out, what have you been doing?
Since I retired?
Yeah, what has life been like on CV Street?
It's been nice, because before I retired, I already was mixing with the civil society. So retirement for me was smooth. Especially, I knew I was not going to fly for any airline. So I prepared my ground on the next line of action, which I'm enjoying.
I thought that you got into the Air Force because you loved flying. So what happened to you?
Yes, I did. I flew over 2,500 hours. And if you fly that much, and I had almost 700 hours of combat. This is combat you go to, and you are not sure of coming back. This is something you go and you see people firing at you. You escape death, but sometimes you see your mates, your colleagues being killed. Even you as the active participant, we don't call it kill, you destroy targets. After a while you get tired and say, I want to live this life. Especially when you look at the after effects of such events. People that have post-traumatic stress disorders, they have flashbacks, which takes them back to whatever they had seen in the past, and if not well treated.
Okay, we'll actually talk about that a bit later, but let's go over now to Colonel Fordele. I mean, I saw you nodding your head while Air Commodore Balogun spoke. Were you having flashbacks too?
Yeah, there's nobody who got himself involved in any type of, over here we call it internal security operations and stuff like that. But war as it is, when you hear the exchange of gunfire, there's no how I wouldn't have a flashback. Where situations you see, you use a fellow colleague's dead body to shield yourself from bullets and stuff like that. It's really traumatic, And like he rightly said, you came back. When you came back, they only tested for HIV. So, and all after that, nobody cares any longer how you feel, what happens to your family, how you reintegrate with your family and stuff like that. It's pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, for you, I mean, how much of a challenge was that, reintegrating into CV Street?
Well, for me, individual differences. For me, it wasn't that too big because I've been issue. I had it at the back of my mind that I wasn't going to spend all the rest of my life in the military. So somehow, somewhere along the line, we tried to make friends with civilian counterparts, colleagues, and what have you. And in the course of developing while in the military, we had the opportunity of going to school with some civilian friends and what have you. So for me, again, it wasn't that too hard reintegrating myself.
So the transition from military life to civilian life wasn't very difficult for
me,
you,
yes.
I mean, what accounted for that? You said because of the fact that while you were in the military, you had this constant, interaction with. But how did that prepare you for what you're doing now?
A lot. It prepared me because now I interact freely. I don't have issues because I was in the military. If you remember, my generation came when it was, let me use the word, the dark cotton in the sense that it was the military regime era. So there were a lot of us that most civilians looked upon as being cocky, being saucy, jackwood. There was no name we were not labeled, as it were. But I in particular, and some of us too, we knew that there's supposed to be life after the military. And so
life after the military, what are the challenges dealing with that? I mean, we're going to do with that in some focus, after this break. Yeah. But let me come first of all to Komodo Bayame. In your own circumstance, in your own case, what did you see really with the numerous veterans that have left the military?
The ones that did not do well in the military, once they are out there, they can never do well. Because the atmosphere outside the service is not the same. The outside world is harsh, and these guys have been inside the barrack for 30-something years. So coming out to come and face realities of the civil life has been a difficult challenge for them to overcome. And if you are not careful, you become a drug addict, a drunkard, you end up being on the streets, homeless sometimes. And that's what we felt is not right.
Yeah, we'll come to what you felt is not right and really what we should be doing about that. But just quickly, do you have any sense of the population of military vets?
That's part of what we want to do. We don't really know for now. It's just vets, because when you look at some of us, you think that vets are actually enjoying. We're looking at the vets who has a horrible story, a horrible situation.
So it's not about somebody like who looks very well fed.
We look, that does not mean that we don't have challenges. But there are vets who you see them, their state is unimaginable. So that's what the Green Heroes actually is out to do. See how we can mobilize them, know what is even the percentage. And out of that percentage, what is the percentage that is doing well, in parentheses, the percentage that is not that doing well, and see how we can fill the gap.
But does the public owe the military vets anything? Do they have any obligation to cater for them?
A lot.
Why would you say so?
Yeah, I say so. Unfortunately, what we have here, because we have, a lot of us grew up under the military regime, so they felt that, let me use the Nigerian parlance, after all, they have been in power, what did they do for themselves? But it's not, in normal climb, the military personnel are adored.
Well, you said no matter. In any case, we'll be dealing next, after this break, with the issue of what's been done about the military vets. And that's why we bring in the Green Heroes Foundation. And it's a foundation that both Colonel Fodile and Komodo Balogun belong to. But at this point, actually, we'll be saying, we're thanking Colonel Fodile for joining us, because after the break, we'll be bringing in another guest. But that will be after this time out.
Coming up on NTA News 24. Nigeria Today, 7:30, Monday to Friday, with exciting anchors on topical issues. Inspirators, a search for those who inspire others. Business 24, a business magazine program. late edition repackaged. Fresh and exciting programming on NTA News 24. Stay with us.
Well, thanks for being here. The program is on Nigeria Today, and we'll be looking at the life of Nigeria's military veterans after leaving service. And we have been joined by another guest, and this time is civilian and media practitioner. Her name is Muji Danisa Daudu. Thanks for coming, Muji.
You're welcome. I'm really glad to be here.
And we still have in the studio Air Commodore Bayomi. Now, Air Commodore Bayomi is actually the founder of the Heroes Foundation, and Muji plays a role in this organization. Now, let's talk about the Heroes Foundation. Muji, I know that you do quite some work for them with regards to, the sensitization.
Yeah.
So I'll start with you. What is the Heroes Foundation about?
Well, as they have said, the Green Heroes Foundation is an initiative set up by him to rehabilitate war veterans, especially in the area of mental health. And, when we talk about mental health, we're focusing on post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. That's basically what it's all about. We're going to be taking care of the veterans, and we're going to rehabilitate them and reintegrate them into society.
Fine. You wrote a book, which I've read, and substantially it seems as if you were yourself traumatized by the events of, what happened to you between Liberia and Sierra Leone. Was that the prompt, the motivation for what you're doing now?
Yes, I'll say yes, because the book was reflections of what we did in Sierra Leone, particularly. I thought people would learn from the errors, the mistakes we made. But along the line, I saw so much, and I said, what would be the effect of all active soldiers, the effect of war on them? And I went into research, and I discovered that so many people suffer from what we term the silent injuries of war. Because when somebody comes back from war, you see he has one arm, one leg. Those are the physical things. The silent ones you don't see. And like she said, those are the signs of post-traumatic stress disorder. Whoever goes to combat must come back with something. It's not free. You must lose something. So whoever goes to war and come back, it can never be 100% the same as the way he left. He will have gone through some trauma. And then when he comes back, the people on ground will not know the difference. They will still expect him to behave the way
How does this manifest really in real terms?
All right. The PTSD, for example, there are different symptoms. And one of them we talked about earlier is flashbacks, when you go back to where we are, where you used to be at the war front, and whatever was happening then, you want to repeat it. Unfortunately, I learned yesterday that Sylvester Stallone died.
No, I think that's correct.
It's not true?
Yes,
That's not
fake
true.
news.
Okay. But Sylvester Stallone in the film Rambo was a war veteran who came home, isolated himself, which was one of the symptoms of PTSD. And when he was agitated, he became agitated. He fought the whole police of the county and warned everybody, and there was mayhem and chaos. So,
well, you may say that might be fiction mirroring society, but that's where I was just bringing Mujina, the picture that Ekamodo Balogun is, painting for us. How common is that in our society?
I think the picture he's painting is even mild. Because when we watch movies, it's like make-believe. We watch, we enjoy, and we think, okay, this just happens. But then when it comes to real life, imagine a scenario of war. When they enlist, I call them children when they're enlisted. They're at the age of 16, 17, 18. And you just give them, I don't know, Commodore, when you were enlisted, I'm sure it was about that age range. And you just give them some training and you throw them into war. Where they witnessed, what they witness, to say the least, is unimaginable. It's not something that we can just Imagine, it has to be felt. You face bullets, you see your mates, your friends, people you were just talking to 1 minute yesterday, 1 minute ago, they're dead. And you're battling to save your own life, you're killing people, you're shooting people. In some cases, you shoot civilians. These are very traumatic events.
Okay, fine. I mean, I'm sure that you talk with your colleagues a great deal, you know. How many of them, I mean, would you say really suffer from this kind of, challenge?
There are a lot there. Only that, like most cases in Nigeria, we don't keep data, we don't keep statistics. But just a tour of Abuja since we commenced this project, we discovered there are large numbers in Mpape. Even in the heart of the city in Zone 3, we have a lot of them. We have some in after Nyanya, Maraba, and we are trying to make sure that on the day of the launch of the foundation, we are going to get them to the hall, so Nigerians will see them firsthand. We won't be telling stories.
Yeah, telling stories because, I still trying. I see a lot of veterans, I interact with them. They don't seem to carry over that kind of hangover that he's spent it.
If you remember, almost every village has that person they call old soldier.
Yeah.
If you remember in our society, if you go back to your hometown, there's that comical character who fought a war that everybody says old soldier. The person has extreme behavior, extreme character. Those are signs of PTSD.
Okay, fine. So
unless it is...
sorry, I need to come in now because of time, really. Let's focus right now on the Green Heroes Foundation. Okay. Are you just concerned with the PTSD, and what do you intend to do about this?
We are not just concerned with the PTSD, we are concerned with rehabilitation, we are concerned with reintegration and caring even for the families. And with the PTSD, why we talk about PTSD is because PTSD poses a danger to the vets themselves and to the society, to their immediate families. That's why we are even focusing on PTSD. And of course, we're going to get psychologists to work with. We have hospitals to work with. We're working with international organizations already and some local organizations to make sure we curb the menace of PTSD. We hear every day a soldier kills himself. We hear every day a policeman kills his colleagues. We hear every day a soldier kills his family. These are all threats to society.
These are not everyday occurrences. Like, when you say we hear every day,
I'm generalizing.
Fine, yes, sir. So
I'm generalizing.
Yes,
I'm generalizing.
Yes. Okay. Ekomodo Balogun, well, you're starting off these foundation. Really, I mean, you talked about reaching people here and there in Abuja, but really, how will this foundation work to be able to, reach the greater population of military veterans?
Yes, like in other climes where this type of foundation exists, they are all over the place. But based on what we have is an NGO, it's not government sponsored. We have decided to start from Abuja. When we get stronger, we may be able to move outside Abuja and have like zonal offices across Nigeria. But we expect other foundations like this to come up. Because Green Heroes Foundation, yes, we are the pioneer. Then the population is large that we may not be able to handle it alone. But we promise to try our best. We promise to empower the children of the departed, because that's what we don't do. And the ones that are still alive, we provide them with care and support.
Ekomodo Balogun, founder, Green Heroes Foundation, thank you very much for coming on Nigeria Today.
Thank you.
And Moji, well, I prefer not to talk about your past, but in any case, Moji, it's nice having the once upon a time Queen of Junk come on Nigeria Today.
Not Queen of Nigerian journalism.
Well, thank you very much for coming on Nigeria Today. We've been talking about the military veterans in Nigeria and the quagmire that quite a number of them face, especially with regards to the post-traumatic disorder. And the Green Heroes Foundation is devoted towards addressing these and the many challenges of Nigeria's military veterans. That's our program for today. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Wilfred Ewale.